Okay, recording this video on Monday, the 13th of January, 2020. Do hope you are doing well. So first of all, just to say apologies for my croaky voice. I've been surfing in some pretty nasty water over the last couple of days. We've had a lot of rain here in Kauai, and so I think I just picked up something in my throat. Anyway, it's been a good week's trading last week, good Monday's trading today. I was going through my charts and I was wondering, what shall I do a video about? What's kind of interesting? And the Bitcoin charts kind of popped up. The crypto space is looking very interesting right now. So I'm going to go through my short-term charts on Bitcoin and then the daily charts on Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Ethereum. But before going through the charts, just a note about data. I've found it really difficult over the last couple of years to find some really decent data on the crypto space. We have all kinds of exchanges with crypto data on. We have people trying to make crypto kind of indices to capture what's going on. We've got some ETF kind of data as well that you can follow to see what's going on in that space. None of them really kind of do the job in my mind, but what I've kind of come down to is the series that TradeStation put out under their Forex kind of tab. So let me just show you that. If you go Format Symbol and then go Lookup, and you go under the Forex tab, All Forex Symbols, Lookup, you'll find here Bitcoin, BTC versus the US dollar, Bitcoin Cash, BCH versus USD, and also Ethereum's in this listing here. So there's Ethereum, ETH, USD. Those are kind of the best symbols that I've found to track what's going on. And then I can put up tick bar charts and daily charts or minute charts in order to use the volume data that goes in there. The price data is pretty good in those different kind of indices and data sources for cryptocurrency. The problem is the volume data being representative of what's going on, and that's the symbols that I've found that are the best kind of representation of what I think is going on in the market. Anyway, so the shortest time frame chart that I look at Bitcoin is the 5,000 tick bar chart. So I'm going to look at that first and just show you what's kind of going on. First of all, in terms of the cycles, what's happening, we kind of maxed out here, 10,005 back in October, been in a big downtrend, and we finally made a pullback to end of trend signal back mid-December. I put out a video around that time saying look for kind of breakouts from this level. So we've had a little bit of a false breakout kind of going on here. We kind of tested back into those lows, and we had a really concerted go at it through the 7,500 level a couple of days ago. What's nice about this is we've had a sell-off with exhaustion sell and bullish divergence coming at 7,006, but we did not have exhaustion buy at this least recent peak at 8,005. So we're looking like we want to bust through a resistance on this highest time frame, and that would take us into a nice trending move where we might look at the recent high up here at 10,005 or so. So this is likely to keep on going because we have not had exhaustion buying to get the move going. This was exhaustion sell ending the move. Let me just show you this on the volume charts. So here we go. We have exhaustion sell here with the first kind of bottoming action that we had, bullish divergence, blue professional bars, picking it up at the lows. We test back in again at 6.6 or whatever this level down here was with another exhaustion pattern, bullish divergence. We then had exhaustion buying, getting the move going. You can see all these blue professional bars buying this in anticipation of it kind of rocketing away, and that's being a good place to put in a long-term position. And we just tested into that 7,000 level, little bit of profit taking up here at 8,005 with a couple of blue professional bars, but then we've come back into this exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, and we're taking off to break into another confirmed uptrend going on here. Until we see that exhaustion buy to mirror the exhaustion buy that gets this move going, this move will continue to the upside. So looking for that break to continue through this 8,004, 8,005 level, and we see where that goes. So that's on a tip bar chart. We can see everything's kind of bottomed out and starting to break away to higher levels. But the reason why I'm particularly interested in this space is because on the daily charts, we're seeing cyclical supports on the highest time frames coming in all the three major currencies, the cryptocurrencies. So here's BTC, which is Bitcoin, and then we've got BCH, which is Bitcoin Cash, and then Ethereum going on here. The reason why I like Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, everybody thinks that Bitcoin Cash is kind of just another alternative or a fork of Bitcoin, and it's not important. Bitcoin Cash is incredibly important. This is the equivalent of silver and gold in the crypto space. So I always think of as Bitcoin as being like gold in as much as it is used for big transactions. Doesn't matter, how quickly the money moves, the transaction moves. Willing to pay a larger fee for it, for lots of confirmation that a large amount of money has been moved. So it's like a e-gold, if you like, equivalent of gold, holding value, keeping value, not used for day-to-day transactions. Bitcoin Cash is similar to silver in that respect. Bitcoin Cash, very cheap to transact, very fast to transact. It's a tenth of the size of Bitcoin. It's designed for daily transactions and used on a day-to-day basis, similar to what gold and silver were back in a couple of centuries ago. Gold was always used for international transactions to cover balance of payments movements between different countries. Silver was always used domestically for trade, for doing day-to-day transactions between merchants. So Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin are the two most important ones in my mind in terms of the crypto space. So Bitcoin on a high time frame chart, this is 1440 minutes, which is a daily chart. I use this breakdown because it allows me to zero in on volume data here. If you go to daily, you don't get any kind of volume settings. So I use the 1440 minute chart. There are exactly 1440 minutes in a day, so I can look at the volume data in some detail. And we've had the max out move here that we had back in June, July, where we maxed out and we fell into a downtrend here. We've now had a pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame, pullback to end of trend on the intermediate time frame, and I talk about these rippling through the time frames. This is a left shoulder, that's the head, inverted head of a head and shoulder movement. Little bit of a pullback to end of trend signal in there. Cyclical support on the highest time frame has just come in, and we're starting to break above resistance on the lowest time frame here. A break and a close above that will signal us into an uptrend. So this thing bottomed out with exhaustion sell, blue professional bars coming in at the lows, bullish divergence comes in, we race away. We have not had exhaustion buying on the daily level. We did have professional profit taking up here at 12,000. We've fallen back in, and all of this has been amateur testing, amateur down bars into this kind of testing move. So Bitcoin on a daily chart, because of this cyclical support on the highest level come in, we're starting to break above resistances. That's looking good for a long-term kind of move. Same thing happening on Bitcoin Cash, BCH USD. So here we've had a pullback to end of trend on the highest time frame, more cyclical support on the intermediate time frame come in, and this one we've just broken the last couple of bars, last couple of days, broken above resistance on the lowest time frame into strength and an uptrend here. And then lastly, Ethereum, almost the same kind of picture going on, pullback to end of trend on the highest time frame. We've got a cyclical resistance on the lowest time frame here. A break and a close above that would be good, trigger us into an uptrend on the daily chart of Ethereum. So that whole space for me now is we've been waiting and waiting on this downside move, basically for everything to kind of come together. We had these kind of false breakouts on the tip bar charts where they kind of got going, they tested, they got going, they tested, and it was choppy. But now, because on the daily charts we've had the cyclical resistance come in, supports come in, I beg your pardon, on all of the daily charts on the highest time frame, that's really important. So that'll hold us and drive into the next move and the next test of the highs. So let's see where the cryptos kind of go over the next couple of days. I think it's looking interesting for a longer term move, and we have been waiting and waiting for this to finally line up on the downside. So hopefully this is it in terms of damage on the downside.